It's Jimmy Lam here with Best in Class. This week's leader is Dr. William Low.
Parents always want their children to win at the starting line. They find the best play group, preparing the children for the competition to get into pre-nursery school, which means better admission chances at elite kindergartens, primary schools, secondary schools, and top universities, and finally, big companies. And I think in front of me, my guest today has done just that. He's always at the forefront of everything. He rose to the top for a bank, a telecom company, fashion conglomerate. He is Dr. William Low Wing Yan. Hi, Dr. Low.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hi.
Good to see you. By the way, let me put the record straight. I didn't go to any prestigious kindergarten. I went to
St. Louis.
I went to St. Louis.
Yeah.
Well, if we are using the commercial term, it's quite a mass market school. But in the early years, like when I was studying there, it was like 40 years ago, obviously. They are quite good. They are quite good. Academically, they are quite good.
Yeah, and then you moved on to study pharmacology and genetic engineering at Cambridge.
Yes,
Wow.
yes. I was all the time very interested in science, especially medical science, and even within the medical science discipline, I was mostly interested in neuroscience, i.e. the science of the brain and the nervous system, because I thought it is fascinating. If we can only understand a little bit more about how the brain works, we might probably know a lot more about this world.
And then you basically entered McKinsey.
McKinsey is an important tipping point for me because, as I said, I was trained as a scientist, as a neuroscientist. I didn't learn a lot about business, management, or finance during my school years. So when I decided somehow to quit science and entering into the commercial world, I need a platform, put it like this, the platform to help me to transform myself. And McKinsey basically provided just that. My entry at McKinsey is an associate level, and then I was there for 4 years, moving close to being an engagement manager. During that time, I had a chance to actually move to Hong Kong Telecom. At the time, Hong Kong Telecom was actually my client. I did about 5 projects for them during those years when I was in McKinsey Hong Kong office. One day they came to me and said, "Hey, any interest to come to join us? You have recommended all these strategies.
Come and execute it."
Yeah, we need someone to implement them for us. And obviously, keep on hiring in McKinsey is very, very expensive. Hiring you is probably cheaper. I actually went in at the GM level. The year was 1990. So I still remember the first media interview I've ever done. And they came and interviewed me, and the title said, "The youngest GM in the history of Hong Kong Telephone Company." At that time, I still remember there were other 7 GMs in that big company. They're all engineers. At that time, I was 29, and the other youngest GM was, I think, 49, something like that.
Okay.
So it was,
Did they treat you like a kid?
no, they didn't. The good thing about it is I worked with them during those McKinsey studies. So
you worked with them before.
Yes,
Okay,
so they know
that's right.
they know who I am, and we kind of worked before, and they know my strength. They know that I can never understand the engineering and the technology bits as good as them. But from a strategy angle, I always see myself as a strategist. From a strategy angle, I probably have as much, if not more, experience than them.
Over the years, you have been in many industries. You have been in a telecom company, you have been a bank, and then fashion conglomerate, and even media recently. How do you accumulate your knowledge?
No, I read a lot. I enjoy reading. People ask me, how did your parents teach you? Their educational level is not very high. They only finished their secondary school. But my mom, she is a prolific reader. So even when I was very young, she gave me a lot of books to read. We didn't come from a very wealthy family, and in my younger days, there isn't a lot of things I wish to buy that they would buy for us. I like toys, I like sneakers, I like playing sports and all these things, but it's very difficult to ask them to buy something for me, except books. All weekends, we always go to bookshop, and I read all kind of books, from love stories to all these and I basically read everything. That turns into a habit. Probably, if you ask me, that is the most valuable things my parents kind of left to me, is i.e. the ability and the habit to read.
You are the global leader for tomorrow back in 1996 when you won that award in World Economic Forum in Davos. So could you share your advice on how to be a good leader?
Well, at that time I didn't know actually. They said he's a future leader. So no, at that time because I was doing all this multimedia thing. I was the first generation of people in Hong Kong doing that. So as you know, I found Navigator, the internet service at that time in Hong Kong Telecom. Hong Kong Telecom at that time is a very boring telco. What we call telco is a telephone company. We do phone calls and
fax machine
and some data. But basically, we earned all our money on IDD. Basically, that's the case. So in the early 90s, when internet came along, somehow the board entrusted me to establish a new subsidiary, which we call Hong Kong TIMS. Today, obviously, after Richard has bought the company, they call it PCCWIMS. If you look at Now TV, you can still see the logo there. But that IMS is the company I established. I found IMS stands for Interactive Multimedia Services. So think about this. This is back in 94, 95 when I was doing this, year way before everybody talked about internet. The World Economic Forum at Davos basically awarded me is for that, they call vision, anything. But at that time, I must say, I'm also just basically working on it like a startup at that time. At the end of the day, strategy is important, vision is important, but the people is the most important. And good leader will be able to attract good people to work with you. And if you can motivate them good enough, your company will succeed.
Thank you, Dr. Lau, who chose this song by George Benson, Nothing's Gonna Change My Love for You. Next month in May, we have the theme Specialties, 4 experts in training, psychic reading, sexual health, and videos.
If I had to live my life without you near me, the days would all be empty. The nights would seem so long. With you I see forever.